When you hear Nazis, you think of World War II, Hitler, and catastrophe. But few people know that in the final years of World War II, Nazi Germany was building weapons straight out of science fiction. From massive cannons and bouncing bombs to weapons that killed with sound, or focused sunlight to burn cities. In this video, you will learn about 10 of the strangest and most secret weapons of the Nazis. Weapons that may not have saved the war, but still amaze the world. Fritz X, the first smart bomb in history. Fritz X was a radio-guided bomb designed to destroy warships. With over 700 pounds of explosives, it was deadly. In 1943, it disabled the American ship USS Savannah. This technology paved the way for today's guided bombs. Sun gun. Although this sounds more like something a movie villain would think up, the sun gun was a theoretical orbital weapon that was researched by the Nazis during the war. The concept was first thought up in 1929 by the German physicist Hermann Oberth. He designed a space station from which a 100-meter-wide concave mirror would be used to reflect sunlight onto a concentrated point on Earth. According to Nazi scientists, the heat this mirror would be able to project could boil oceans and turn entire cities into ash. Sonic cannon, a weapon that kills with sound? During the early 1940s, Nazi engineers had managed to develop a sonic cannon that could literally shake a person apart from the inside, designed by Dr. Richard Woloschek. Apparently, the sound waves created pressures that could kill a man 50 meters away in half a minute. Whirlwind cannon. This cannon was invented by Austrian scientist Dr. Zippermeyer. It created air blasts aimed at aircraft. A small-scale model worked, but the full-sized version failed. The actual whirlwind cannon itself was found rusting and abandoned by puzzled Allied forces on the artillery proving ground at Hillersleben in April 1945. Bouncing bomb. Although the British engineer Barnes Wallis was the first to invent a bouncing bomb, dubbed Upkeep, the Nazis decided to make one of their own after recovering an intact one. Their reverse-engineered version, nicknamed Kurt, was intended to skip along the surface of the water and then explode when it hit a ship. Luckily for the Allies, Nazi scientists couldn't understand the importance of backspin on these bombs. As a result, they tried to stabilize their bouncing bomb by fitting booster rockets, which in turn, these too had problems in testing. Horton Ho 229, retrospectively described by many as the world's first stealth bomber, this was the first pure flying wing plane to be powered by a jet engine. Developed by the Horton brothers, this tailless aircraft with fixed wings resembles a glider and was equipped with stealth technology, a first for its time. Its sleek design ensured that it would be harder to detect and track with radar than other aircraft since it would have a smaller radar cross-section. Despite proving to be very successful in test flights, this aircraft simply failed to make an impact in the war as it flew for the first time in 1944. Schwerer Gustaf. Also known as the Great Gustav, this is the single largest cannon ever built and used in history. Only 2 were ever built. The second one was called Dora. Designed by Krupp Industries, this ultra-heavy railway gun weighed around 13 to 50 tons and could fire 7-ton shells up to a range of 29 miles. If you're having trouble grasping the vast scale of this monster, you can take a look at the shells that it fired below. And mind you, that's not a toy tank sitting in that thing's shadow. Just in case you're wondering why the war didn't end the moment this terror was unleashed on the battlefield, you have to realize how comically impractical Gustav was. It took 3 days and a workforce of 250 men to assemble the 2 800mm guns, 2,500 men to lay all the twin rail tracks, and half an hour to load the damn thing. Fortunately, the only country they could successfully fire at was Russia, the only country large enough for this weapon to actually hit. Panzervordermost. Completed in late 1944, this super heavy tank holds the title for being the heaviest tank ever built. Weighing in at around a colossal 188 tons, this ended up bringing its downfall. There simply was no engine powerful enough that would have powered this beast to acceptable speeds. Although the design called for a maximum to 20 kilometers per hour, the Mao's prototype could only reach 13 kilometers per hour. However, being the heaviest tank on the planet did have its merits. Instead of crossing bridges, its weight made this impossible. The Maos could ford deep streams and could even go underwater in deeper rivers. In the end, the Maos proved to be too costly to produce, and thus, only 2 were ever built, one of which was never completed. Also worth mentioning is the proposed Landkreuzer P-1000 Ratta, which was to be another super heavy tank. What's so special about the Ratta? As if the 188-ton Maus wasn't heavy enough, the Ratta would have been a mind-boggling 1,000 tons that's over 5 times as heavy. Often referred to as Hitler's super tank, its size rendered it impossible to build and maneuver, so it stayed on the drawing board. Goliath tracked mine. Some of you will love this one. What are these little guys, you may ask? Remember that toy RC car that you had as a kid? Well, the Nazis simply strapped a bomb to that, sort of like a mini RC car of doom. Also known as Beetle tanks to the Allies, these little remote-controlled bombs could clear out bunkers, destroy tanks, and disrupt infantry formations. These small contraptions could carry up to 100 kilograms of high explosives at a top speed of around 6 miles per hour, which isn't that bad, considering what they were carrying. Their major downside was that these things were controlled via a joystick control box, which was connected by 2,000 feet of triple-strand cable. All the Allies needed to do was to cut said wire, which would render the mighty Goliath absolutely useless. StG-44, the Sturmgewehr 44, or StG-44, is considered by many to be the world's first assault rifle. The StG-44's design was so successful that modern assault rifles such as the infamous AK-47 and M16 designs are derived from it. It is said that Hitler was impressed so much by this weapon that he personally named it as the Sturmgewehr 44, or Storm Assault Rifle 44. Despite not having much of an impact, the StG-44 had the coolest weapon attachments available at the time. Enter the Zielgerät 1229 infrared vision sight, codenamed Vampire, which aided infantry and snipers to shoot accurately at night. It was first used in combat during the last months of the war and weighed about 5 pounds, but it also had to be connected to a 30-pound battery pack strapped to the soldier's back. Infrared vision not cool enough for you? Well, how about this badass Krumlauf, curved barrel attachment that allows you to shoot around corners? The idea of being able to fire weapons effectively around corners had existed for a while, but Nazi Germany was the first to actually attempt it. Engineers came up with versions for 30-degree, 45-degree, 60-degree, and 90-degree bends. However, these curved barrels had very short lifespans, approximately 300 rounds for the 30-degree version and 160 rounds for the 45-degree variant, as the barrel and bullets fired would be under great stress. The Nazis built incredible weapons, but most were either ineffective or arrived too late. Technology without strategy is not enough. Which one amazed you the most? If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe. See you in the next video.